Welcome, Mixed Reactions. It is Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. This is Ian, Sean, Casey, and Justin. How's it going today, Sean?
Pretty good, man. Living the dream.
Good deal. Living the dream. That's always code for I'm hanging in there. How's it going, Casey?
Oh, you know me, man. Just been doing my thing here. Obviously, I spent a good majority of the day betting on table tennis.
And I'm sure you won. Dallas isn't in the playoffs, by the way. How you doing, Justin?
Well, freezing my ass off, but otherwise,
It's cold, dude. It's cold up here.
5 degrees.
It's cold in
Yeah,
Michigan too.
it's
Yo,
like
so
30 here.
you mentioned Dallas to make the playoffs. Totally cool. I understand that. I want to turn right to you, Sean. I mean,
Damn.
it's been since 2015 since the Broncos have made the playoffs, right?
Mhm.
So I want to take this and I want to ask you two separate questions, and you can answer them in any order that you like. First is I want to get your feel on this season as a whole for the Broncos. Just being that long playoff drought, being back in there, and then I want you to taper off to your expectations going into the playoffs for the Broncos. I think it's only right we start with you. It's been a long awaited time for them to get back there. I think this is where we should start.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, kind of takes me back to like when I was a baby Bronco in 2003, and like I started becoming a fan. They were on a playoff drought then, ever since they won at their Elway, and they finally made it, and it just kind of feels good. It kind of feels like if I were to put an analogy in it, I would say we were finally invited to the party, the cool party. We received an invitation. We barely got the invitation, but we were just cool enough to get the invitation. And now it's their opportunity to show that they belong. Do they belong? And they can. The cool thing about the Broncos is they're playing with house money. There are a lot of ways that they can show that they belong, even if they lose.
No, I agree. I mean, being going into it unbiasedly, the Bills are going to be a pretty heavy favorite going into the game.
Oh, absolutely.
No one's really
Yeah.
going to expect the Broncos to go into Buffalo and get the win. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you got
Absolutely.
your Broncos fans that are hopeful, and of course that's what they want. But expectations are Buffalo's probably going to come away with the win. So
Yeah.
you're playing with house money, and it must be a good feeling to know that you have a solid roster that's only going to get better. People are going to want to come play for Sean Payton. They're going to want to come play with Bo Nix. These
Right.
are things that it's a great trajectory for the Broncos, and I only see it going up from here.
Yeah, it's just as soon as they get rid of that Russell Wilson contract, that's kind of like holding them dead in the water. But the NFL draft, we'll see what they pick up there. Hopefully, a wide receiver, a tight end. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, no, going in, I just hope Denver just makes it. I mean, I know we're probably gonna get to the picks later, but I just hope they make it respectable. Just make it competitive.
I think that's probably the
Don't
most
get
intriguing
no.
matchup, really, of the weekend. Like you said, we'll get into the picks later,
Yeah.
but the Broncos Bills game is it's kind of a sneaky good matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It
it's
is,
that
especially
one
because
or
Denver's
it's Rams
defense.
Eagles. Rams Eagles is going to be a hell of a matchup too. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you got to think Jalen Hurts still in concussion protocol. At L, it's I don't know. No, wait, it's not Rams LA. It's not Rams and the Eagles. Is it? It's Rams and Vikings. My
Yeah, we
apologies.
played.
Rams.
I was
The
just gonna
Eagles play
say
the
we play the
Packers.
Vikings.
Yeah,
Eagles
Eagles play the
Packers.
Packers. I meant to say
That's a good game
Rams and
too.
Vikings. I think that is going to be one of the best matchups is the Rams and the Vikings. I really think the LA can take it to them. I mean, Sam Darnold almost turned back into Sam Darnold this past week against Detroit. He looked baffled. He looked confused. I don't want to take the shine off the Broncos. I still want to touch on them real quick here with you, Sean.
Oh,
Um, Going forward, is this the expectation that you now have for Denver?
oh, making the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you go on this long drought and you finally make it. Like you don't want it to be a one-time thing. Like you want to build. That's a rebuild. That's what it's called, right? We're
Yeah.
we're finally like building the house. You know what I'm saying? So you want to continue to get better.
Do you put in any stock into this past weekend against Kansas City? There was a lot of speculation that the Chiefs, and I talked about it last week. You guys weren't here. I talked about it with Ian. I said there is a 0% chance that the Chiefs are going to beat the Broncos. I said the Chiefs are going to do everything in their power to avoid having to play the Bengals.
Mhm.
Nobody wanted to see them in the playoffs.
They sure did. They drop it. You see the play in the back of the end zone. They were like, the Chiefs are really trying. Dude had the pick, just fell off his head. It was shit. What was it 38-0? I took Broncos.
38
It
to
was
nothing.
38-0. Yeah, I didn't hold too much on the game. The only thing I will say is, even if the Chiefs weren't trying that much, there's no way they wanted to lose that bad and get shut out and
Agreed.
not score at least one
Agreed.
point.
Totally
So
agree.
there is something there, but it was also against their backups. But it still was impressive what Denver did just from that standpoint. They
Yep.
did what they were supposed to do.
Yes.
That was my end quote
Yes.
for that game.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Now I say we transition to the other playoff team in this bracket here. And Ian Blackwell, you guys have a game against the 14-3 Minnesota Vikings in your home turf. Now, you could argue that it really should be in Minnesota, but it's how the division was. You win the division, you get a home playoff game. I think you guys are sneaky in this playoff run, man. If Cooper and Puka can at least be at 80% and you can protect Stafford, there's a lot of defenses that your team can dice up. I would be excited if I were you.
Yeah, definitely. And I really wasn't expected to have it clinched by going to week 17 and already pretty much have it locked up. But I'm confident going in. I think we have the experience. I've never been concerned if coach is the problem. Um, well, I don't. What Kevin O'Connell's gonna do in the playoffs? We really. He's gonna be like, hey man, I got a parlay. I got my boy in the bet, and he's hitting me every day now. But yeah, no, I don't know what Kevin O'Connell's gonna do in the playoffs. They obviously take the ball away a lot. Minnesota does, but we do a good job of not turning the ball over, and we have the experience. Granted, our defense is young, but it comes down. I'm not afraid of. I'm afraid of a lot of other guys on the offense. I'm afraid of that defense because they're stingy, but I'm not worried about Sam Darnold. So I think we squeeze. We'll get to it, but I think we have a good chance.
I think you do too. I mean, obviously, their 1-2 combo in Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison is no slouch either. They absolutely can rival Puka and Cooper. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in football. Nobody's going to question that. He is far and away the best receiver in football. Jordan Addison is proven to be a completely valid, solid number 2 option, and frankly, would be a number 1 on some teams. Your team, Justin, New England. But
They had the chance to get him. They could have gotten him.
But that's neither here nor there. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the weekend, and I'm with you, Ian. I'm not going to quite say it yet because we're not going to get to the picks quite yet. I think you guys have a good chance too.
So which non-playoff? You know what? I know Justin's gonna go off the worst, so we'll get to him. Because I know you guys have some pretty bad rants. You know what? I do want to go to Justin. Gerard Mayo got fired. You guys don't know how to lose correctly. You end up somehow beating the Bills. Which
Again, it was against the Bills practice squad and third string players, to be honest.
I mean, Mike White played, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And they punted from the 35-yard line of the Patriots. They were trying to lose.
Yeah, they wanted to fuck over an AFC East rival and not let him get the number 1 pick.
But the funny part of it is the Patriots weren't going to use the pick. They were going to trade it.
100%.
They were never going to draft the number 1 overall. Never.
No, but now they lost the ability to trade that number 1 pick.
Now they've lost the ability to. Now it doesn't even freaking matter. The entire game, I was like, they need to play to lose. They have to play to lose. I know it's antithetical to any competitor to play to lose, but that is what you had to do.
Did your inner fandom take over at all during the game when you guys had a good play and were winning? Or
some of the Milton flashes, yeah, definitely. It's like, dude, the guy had like sneaky escapability, reminding me of old time Michael Vick in some regards.
Vick, be honest.
Very poor man's Michael Vick. Very poor man. Like I'm talking like sitting at the hobo under 95.
Yes. I will. That dart across the field, that 40-yard dart that he hit
to Keyshawn Booty, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful throw.
Absolutely. He was running. He was full spread, crossbody throw, 48 yards. Ka-ching. There you go. Milton is no longer the oh yeah, there's Joe Milton. No, he couldn't play. And granted, and I'll grant you, it was against third strings and lower for the Bills, but he's still up against NFL level competition.
Yes.
Regardless of what string you're playing. So I think that the Patriots they don't have a quarterback controversy because they're going. That's not even in question. But you have a very serviceable backup in Joe Milton, or potentially a gimmick play, or a backup kind of like you're going to line up Milton and May. Who's going to run the ball? Who's going to take the throw?
Or that third option, Justin. You potentially have a little bit of trade stock value in.
Very true. You have the only thing I would say about the trade stock value of that, because while there definitely is a flash, it's not a lot to get a lot of trade. I don't think you're going to get a lot out of it, out of just one game of experience. But at the very least, if they keep him on as QB2, that's okay because you can let Brissett walk and not feel bad about it.
100%. Brissett will find a job as a backup.
He's a serviceable bridge backup quarterback. But that's where he is in his career. He's not a long-time solution for anybody.
No, God, no, not at all. Not at all.
And God forbid, I mean, if it happens to Drake, I mean, Drake's had a couple concussions this year already. If he goes down, Milton can hold the fort. I'm okay with that. He's showed me enough to say, okay, he could be a decent backup. He didn't put the ball in harm's way, if not even once, if I recall correctly.
Not that I saw.
No, but getting to my feelings during the game, it was very conflicted. It felt weird to root against my team, but at the same time, I think my mind was thinking, what would Belichick say? Got to do what's best for the team. What's best for the team? What was best for the team was to lose the game, and you can't freaking do it. So now the mentality for the Patriots now with the number 4 pick is, instead of build the draft capital that you would have with the number 1, now you got to pick the best overall player. So the question now becomes for them, who's available? Obviously they weren't going for a quarterback, and Travis Hunter would be good if he's available. But I'm also looking at Banks from Texas, the left or right tackle from Texas, because that was a major hole for this offense. Yes, they need offensive help, but they have $130 million in cap space. So they can go sign a good free agent, assuming they get a decent coach. That's still out there. But Vrabel. You've got a good Vrabel is not a set in stone thing. They are interviewing Ben Johnson and Brian Flores.
Oh, yeah. I like Ben Johnson. Don't get me wrong. I'm always a little bit shaky on hiring coordinators. That I'm not saying Ben Johnson doesn't have.
He's qualified, but he doesn't have the head coaching experience.
What about John Gruden?
No freaking way.
No way.
No way. The only thing I would say is it'd be really hard for the Crafts in terms of as an owner perspective to hire Flores based on the still ongoing litigation he's got against the NFL.
Yeah.
But he'd be a hell of an upgrade. Vrabel is what's expected, but I'm actually okay if you go away from what we are used to in terms of personnel and people. Because we knew Mayo, we know Vrabel. Obviously, we knew Belichick for decades. I'm okay if we shift away from that tree a little bit. I'm okay with it.
That's fair.
But I definitely agree we need to have someone who has NFL head coaching experience, regardless of who it is, whether it's Vrabel or not.
We'll give you Mike McCarthy for a bag of stale potato chips.
Yeah, I'll pass on those potato chips. They're shitty as hell. No, but it'll be interesting to see how, because the front office folks, Matt Wolf, Elliot Wolf, and Matt Groh are still there. Which again, they would have, if I were of the opinion, they should be gone too. But conventional NFL practices, the front office folks are gone, don't get axed until after the draft. So we'll see how the draft goes. That really is going to depend, going to determine how I foresee them moving forward.
Very good analysis. That's very fair.
I also think that Robert Kraft gave Jerome Mayo a really crap job to work with.
Yeah, it's the worst roster in football.
It's on paper the worst roster in football. Robert Kraft didn't spend the money to get free agents at all. At all. You could have paid anything for T. Higgins. Didn't. Still probably can. I mean, is he on the franchise tag or is he on the transitional tag?
T. Higgins? Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Pipe dream, I would love to pull Tyreek away from Miami.
No,
pipe dream. It's not happening, but pipe dream.
I mean, Tyreek's leaving Miami. That no question. Tyreek's
with my luck, he'll probably go back to Kansas City.
Probably would.
Absolutely. Kansas City, fucking the Chargers, Baltimore.
Maybe Pittsburgh, depending how things pan out there.
The way that they recruit free agents, don't rule out Philadelphia.
But does Philly have any room with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? Really?
If they restructure some contracts, yeah. Howie Roseman is the GM to get it done.
This is true. I
fucking hate the Eagles, but it could easily end up being Philly.
But pipe dream would be if they could get Hunter and then lure away like Tyreek Hill or T. Higgins, and then you're set. Offensively. Still have to deal with the tackles. I mean, the biggest needs this offseason are offensive tackle and wide receiver.
And you're still going off the assumption. Not saying you're wrong with this assumption, but you'd still be basing it off the assumption that Drake May is going to continue to ascend. This
is true. Again, for what he showed, that is what you need. Not to say that it's going to be everything and is it the answer, but that's the way if all goes according to plan, that's the way you want to go about it.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that at all.
I feel like a team is going to overpay for him. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tyreek Hill is good, but number one, he is getting older, and number two, he's that type of wide receiver. Like, do you really want to pay top of the line money for him, or would you?
I'm not saying that you take top line money for him because he's lost a step considering all things over the years. But
right though, the team is going to overpay for him. It just
they definitely will. And that would be Philly or dare I say Detroit?
I don't know what their cap space is looking like, but
it could possibly be Detroit. Yeah. There's a lot of destinations that are open for Tyreek Hill. I mean, for the right dollar, he's a player that's a good fit anywhere just because of that top end speed that he has. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Justin, you said he lost a step. I'm not sure if he lost an actual step or if he lost a desire to play in Miami type of step.
I think it's kind of a combination, I think, in my opinion. It looks like he lost a step, but it could be just because of desire, because he was playing with nothing, really, because Tua was gone for half the year, if not more. And Skylar Thompson, really?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Ew.
I mean, Miami would trade anything for Joe Milton if you were stuck with Skylar Thompson. Let's just put it that way.
Based on that one game? Yeah.
But
as far as my boys, guys,
Yeah.
Well, we lost our last game of the year. I don't know if you have seen the draft productions. I know you have, Justin, because you brought it up. Right now in the mock draft, Ashton Genty's projected to fall to Dallas.
He fell really far, yeah. That's what I've been reading.
He just declared for the draft today.
And so, that being said, that makes me truly happy because I think he could be a once-in-a-generational type back. He has everything that you're looking for. He's got top-end speed. He's got power. He runs between the tackles. He's a decent blocker. I'm not so sure. The only thing that you could argue with Genty so far in college is the level of competition that he played because he went to Boise State. But The one thing that's worrying me right now, I don't know if you guys have heard, the Chicago Bears have attempted to contact the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, they have contacted. It hasn't attempted. They've contacted.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, but they've attempted to contact them. Dallas won't call them back.
Okay.
About head coach Mike McCarthy. Dallas isn't returning their calls. That leads me to believe, unfortunately, that Mike McCarthy will be back. Now, with that being said, by no means am I saying this is what's happening. Micah Parsons is on a heavy recruitment tour for Tyreek Hill.
One little note I would say to that is the Bears GM today said that they would not be opposed to trading for a head coach.
Okay.
So hypothetically speaking, if they trade for Mike McCarthy, they're going to get a huge draft haul for him anyway.
I wouldn't say a huge. I'd say a third at max.
Probably a second and a next year first.
A first for Mike McCarthy. I mean, he's a Super Bowl winning coach.
Not this year, but next year.
It's possible. I don't see it, but it depends on how the chips fall, I suppose.
And it also depends on how much Chicago's willing to give up to.
Yeah. For some, they really want McCarthy. And I said that a long time ago, about 3 months ago on this show. I said Mike McCarthy would be a good fit in Chicago because he does well with quarterbacks. And Caleb Williams is a developing quarterback, and I think that could be a good fit. It's not a good fit in Dallas. I mean, it was a good fit for 3 years. Had 3 straight years of 12-5. And I don't want to put this on Mike when I say it like this. I think it had much more to do with the talent in the locker room than it did with the coaching of said talent.
Let me ask you this. Would you take Aaron Rodgers?
In Dallas?
Yeah. With Mike McCarthy? A reunion?
No, I wouldn't. Let's put it like this. Is Dak in the equation or is Dak out of the equation?
Aaron Rodgers is your starting quarterback.
So Dak would be off the team, gone.
Yeah, he'd be somewhere else.
No, I couldn't take a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers over a quarterback who obviously is not as good as Aaron Rodgers, but is a solid NFL quarterback that could potentially play another 10 years. I'm taking a longevity. Like,
I get it.
I don't want a potential NFC title game or a divisional round.
He's 41.
McCarthy reminds me of early 2000s, late 2000s, Andy Reid coaching in Philly. Can't get past the big game.
More so than Andy Reid, you know who that reminds me of is Marty Schottenheimer.
That's a good analogy. That's a good one.
Always in the playoffs, but never won the big. Well, I can't even say that because Mike McCarthy did win the big one, but of course it was with Aaron fucking Rodgers.
With Aaron Rodgers.
But at that point, I know Brady and Manning were still in the league, but at that point, Aaron Rodgers was the undisputed best quarterback in the fucking world. That man was on fire. Everything he touched turned to gold.
Yeah, that next.
But what I'm saying, man, for example, you had when Andy Reid had Donovan McNabb and freaking T.O.
Yep.
And still couldn't get over the hump.
No, I mean, a lot is said about that Super Bowl, though. If T.O. wasn't playing on one leg, how differently it would have been, which you never know.
It could have been.
It's all hypothetical, of course, but, for being on one leg, I think T.O. still had 9 receptions for like 122 yards. That's phenomenal.
Wow.
Deion Branch was the MVP, if I'm not mistaken, of that game.
Yeah,
was he?
Deion Branch was the MVP of that Super Bowl.
Who was the first two for the Patriots? That's a good...
Brady.
Who was what? Brady.
Oh, for the first two?
Yeah, the only other one who won MVP was Julian Edelman against your Rams.
When we scored 3 points, what an offensive explosion.
James White also won the Falcons one.
No, Brady did.
You sure? I thought it was James White.
No, Brady won it.
Okay.
See, but that's the difference that a quarterback can make because obviously, Donovan McNabb, not a Hall of Famer, but he's in the Hall of the Very Good. And Andy Reid couldn't get over the hump with him. But then you get him Patrick Mahomes, and he's won 3 out of the last 5 Super Bowls, potentially on his way to a 3-peat.
Well, that goes to show like tiers of quarterbacks. I mean, You have Donovan McNabb, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes.
Honestly, like in the grand scheme of like when you're looking at them play, you probably wouldn't notice that all too much of a difference via just the naked eye test.
Right.
But when you break it down analytically, you start to notice is the subtle differences in those type of quarterbacks.
Right.
Yeah.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, about to be league MVP. I believe he's going to get it over Lamar.
He should.
All sports are like this. Lamar's already won 2. They're not going to give him another MVP until he wins the Super Bowl.
You know, it's funny because not too long ago we were talking, should Saquon get it? And then all of a sudden, then Josh Allen just goes off. Yeah, Josh Allen.
3 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns. Is that what he put up in that one game?
Yep.
That's insane, man.
On Saquon getting it. Saquon is easily going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Although,
yeah,
Jamar Chase just won the Triple Crown.
Jamar Chase won the Triple Crown, but he's not the best receiver in the game.
That's fair. He's not. I think he's
the Bengals wide receiving core. I can't believe they started off so slow with how good that wide receiver.
My team beat them the first game of the year.
They lost a lot of
That's
close games, if
insane.
I remember correctly. The Bengals did.
Yeah.
The Bengals lost a lot of close games. Didn't
They did. And
The Patriots did too, but even then, it didn't matter. We lost them.
T. Higgins
Bengals
could
would've
be
lost
a
another
number
close game
one
if Dallas didn't muff
on a
and
different
walk on.
NFL roster.
I think when it came down to one-score games, I think the Patriots, I think they lost like 4 one-score games, 4 maybe 5. Wouldn't have made it. Obviously, wouldn't put them in the playoffs, but it would definitely have made them a lot better looking overall.
No, but
When I look at that, I mean, it's the NFL. There's so many close games.
Yeah.
The NFL has always been like this. I've said this for years, and I know you guys have all said it too. And it's just any team can beat any team on any given Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's not a team that's unbeatable by any means.
No.
Take a look at those 7 Patriots, man.
That was a juggernaut. What beat them was their own hubris.
Yeah.
Bryce Young this weekend carved up Atlanta. I was watching that game.
Bryce Young is starting to look like he was worthy of that number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
It only took him getting benched for 5 weeks.
Will be interesting to see what they do. I'm sure they'll keep him because his contract's not up, right?
Yeah, no, he's at the very least earned the starting spot for next year. What he's played, no question. But you have to get Bryce Young some receivers in Carolina. I'm sorry. I like Adam Thielen. He's been a very solid receiver in the NFL his whole career.
But they sold their soul to Chicago.
Huh?
They sold their soul to Chicago.
They did. They 100% did. Sean,
For all the good it did Caleb.
Is Carolina that franchise that may overpay Tyreek Hill?
I don't know if Tyreek Hill would want to go there. Tyreek Hill wants to go to a winner.
Oh my God, yo.
Tampa?
Tyreek Hill to Buffalo.
Oh,
I see that.
God. No. No. No.
That cannon with Josh Allen.
I can see that.
God, that would suck so much.
That was from Miami to Buffalo. That takes some character. That's a big difference.
They got a new stadium too. That's a hard sell. They got a new stadium, or easy sell.
Have you guys seen the
hard sell
recruiting tour that Micah has been on for Tyreek? Micah really wants Tyreek in Dallas. I'm not saying it's going to happen because I don't think it is. But Micah is trying to.
I feel like Dallas fits his personality more compared to Buffalo.
Yeah, they're going to fucking Siberia.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I can see that.
He's from Texas, isn't he?
Tyreek, I think so.
Yeah.
But I feel like,
holy shit. Yo, I'm just saying, if that happens, we're going to have a 1-2 combination of CD Lamb and Tyreek Hill. And if we draft Ashton Genty, we're going to put up 40 a game.
With Trey Lance as your quarterback.
Yeah, you need a quarterback.
Oh,
Full support position.
Of that, you guys, you talked about it a little bit in the group chat, and because you said they wouldn't get to 80 snaps. They had 74 snaps of offense that game with Trey Lance, right? I don't know if you guys saw this. So Cooper Rush had an incentive going into this Week 17 game, right? He missed out on it, you could say, because Jerry benched him for Trey Lance, so he didn't have to pay him I think it was like a $250,000, $500,000 incentive, something like that, for playing 58% of the snaps or something of that nature. Sean, you don't think you didn't think they were going to get to the 80, but like I said, they had 74 snaps, that offense that game.
That's a lot, but I mean, I don't know how many average snaps are there per game.
That's a good question. I'd say in the ballpark, anywhere between 65 to 80.
65
Depending
to
on the
80.
type of game that it is.
Well, I haven't looked it up myself yet, but somebody said they haven't had 80 snaps in a game all year. Dallas hasn't. You could probably look that up. Snaps.
We'll never know. It kind of felt like a reach to me to Jerry Jones.
No,
to try
it
to
is,
attack.
of course. And any story in the NFL that people can conjure up, they're going to do it, of course.
Yeah.
But no matter the way you slice it, it's going to be a bad look for Jerry because that story is now out there.
Yeah.
And his reputation precedes him also.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's facts.
Skip Bayless on his podcast called him Jerry Biden.
Oh, let's not start talking about
He's paying $1.5 million for it.
Now he's saying it's my turn.
Yeah, Fox is a wild organization. There's been a lot of things happening at Fox.
Yeah, him and Shannon Sharp now have they've both been involved in
What's that, Casey?
Do you guys believe that about Skip?
I haven't read too much onto the story, to be honest.
I'm not. The memes have been great.
The memes have been wonderful. Yeah, I mean, we're not educated enough to speak on it because we weren't there. But
yeah,
Stephen A. Smith commented on it because obviously he knows Skip Bayless on a personal level, and says he doesn't ever remember a time Skip Bayless wanted to spend $15, let alone $1.5 million.
Like, I wasn't surprised about just like people sleeping with each other for like job promoting. Like, for some reason that didn't shock me. I feel it's a company, and it's a place of employment. Like, let's be real here.
Yeah.
Like, people who work at the same workplace at times they sleep with each other. Like, they become friends, they get to know each other, they sleep with each other. Like, that same thing happens in the media. So, like, I wasn't shocked about that. Am I wrong?
Were you present for that conversation?
I missed that. I'm sorry. No.
We were talking about Skip only the tip Bayless.
Oh God, I didn't see the whole thing about it, but I knew it was like, bad.
Now paying money, yeah, that's a little. If that's true, that's crazy. That's wild.
You make a valid point though, Sean. It happens every day with coworkers. Like you said, some coworkers end up sleeping together. It's one of those things that I saw that.
I married my coworker, and so there's that.
There you go.
It's I'm not going to comment too much about sleeping with coworkers, but it's just
walk away while you're still ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, this is a sports show. Guys.
Yeah.
You trying to get to these NFL playoff picks?
Let's do it.
Wait. Before we get to the NFL, we gotta get college football.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Thursday and Friday, fellas.
Is it Thursday and Friday?
Either that or Friday, Saturday.
Oh, you know what? It probably is Thursday, Friday because they're not going to take away from the NFL.
Yeah. That's 100% it, Ian.
Oh, shit. So who do we got? We didn't even do a pick segment last week, I don't think.
We were here last week because
that's right. You guys went for college. You're right. So who we got? Notre Dame. You know what? Well, you know what? Fuck it. Let me do the college one. You do the.
Yeah, you do the college ones. That's fine.
All right. So, let me actually pull. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this honor. Give me just.
You never were.
Because we got Penn State, Notre Dame, and I know Texas is in the. I'm just pulling up so I can get the time and the accurate spread and everything. Real live television. No, not really. I just don't edit that shit. All right, let's see. And first, taking place on Thursday. This is embarrassing. We have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish playing Penn State. Notre Dame is favored by 1.5. I don't know if you guys saw either game. um, Notre Dame against Georgia. I mean, it was close. It was low scoring, but it was competitive. I mean, both teams probably play really a lot of the same. Riley Leonard can run the ball, but Abdul Carter from Penn State. I mean, he's gonna be. He's in the draft this year too? I think, right? He's top 5. Abdul Carter. I got Penn State in that one, and then what about you guys?
I got the Fighting Irish all day. Notre Dame. I think they're a well-coached football team. Coach Freeman, I was really impressed with the way he handled that game versus Georgia. That fourth down call, amazing. I think Notre Dame looks really
That
good, and
took
we're going to see them in the
guts.
championship. hmm I
You're
can't hear you,
muted,
Joe.
Justin.
You're on mute. You're muted, brother.
My bad. Fighting Irish all day. All day. Give me Notre
I'm
Dame.
with you guys. I'm going Notre Dame in this one. I think they're the more well-rounded team. I think they're the better coach team. I think they play better situationally. I'm going to Notre Dame.
All right, so
Oh
I'm the
yeah.
only one that got Penn State. All right, here we go. So we got Ohio State and Texas, which is Texas traveling a long way. Arlington is where the game is going to be. It's going to be the Cotton
Oh,
Bowl.
such a trouble. Such a trouble boy.
Ohio State. They'll probably put up more points in this game than Dallas had. No, I'm just playing. I don't have all year. I was joking, but I don't know how much they're really going to score. They're playing Ohio State. I think Ohio State just looked like a machine against Oregon. Well, it'll be a test to see how well prepared they come out because we saw before that when they played Michigan and they shit the bed. But we just see when Michigan just did to Alabama in the ReliaQuest Bowl. They're not that bad. So give me Ohio State. I think they roll. I think they roll Texas. I don't think Texas is that great. I
So
That
think Ohio State has the weapons to hurt them on offense.
that
if
was Go ahead,
go ahead,
Casey.
Sean. No, go ahead, go Sean. Go.
I was just gonna say that's the best game of the two for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, God, that's gonna be such a good game.
The other one's like a blue
Uh,
blood clash though.
I still think Ryan Day's coaching for his job.
he
Um,
is.
so, and Texas struggled. They barely got past Arizona State. Give me Ohio State, and I think it'll be another big win for them.
I'm going to go with Ohio State too. I'd be a little more hesitant if Quinn Ewers was 100%. It's clear that you can see he's hobbled. And I'm not saying you bench your starting quarterback in a playoff scenario.
You want to put Arch Manning in there?
This is the perfect time for Arch Manning. It really is. Obviously in the NFL, that would sound like the craziest thing that you want to fucking put tinfoil on my head. But in college, this might really be the time.
Man, if he didn't have the last name Manning on the back of that jersey, you wouldn't even be saying that.
This is true. You know that.
It's not so much that has a little to do with it. Granted, 100%. But how totally he was recruited, what we've seen from him in the regular season,
That's true.
he has that mobility factor right now that Quinn Ewers doesn't.
I'll give you that. We have seen him play a bit.
True. Very true.
He has that mobility factor right now that Quinn Ewers doesn't. Quinn, I'm not saying he's a statue right now, but against Arizona State, yeah, he had that running touchdown. Cool, sure.
Yeah.
You can tell he's still hobbled.
If it becomes too much of a problem, then you probably should consider putting Manning in.
I say you put it in now. Why not?
Well, I'm rolling with you guys, Ohio State, but I would not be surprised if we're all wrong.
Did you pick Ohio State too, Ian?
Yeah, we've all got Ohio State.
Okay.
And then the Notre Dame game, I'm the only one that doesn't have Notre Dame. Drew Allen.
That'd be one hell of a matchup, Ohio State Notre Dame.
Yeah.
The
the
tight end for Penn State, wasn't it? I can't keep his fucking name. Tyler Warren. That dude's the truth. He's like a top 10 pick too, or first round pick too.
Yeah, he's a beast.
But what do you say we get down to the big boy games?
To the men,
even though all the dudes would smash that, but nah, I'm the coordinator. Remember that question we had? Who would be the coach, coordinator, all that? But yeah, what we got for the first game. We don't play till Monday, so.
We have Saturday, January 11th, 4:30 in Houston. We have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Houston to play the Texans.
Not the Harbaugh Bowl.
I'm going with the Chargers.
I'm rolling.
Pedaled into the playoffs, man.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Chargers too. I'm trusting Harbaugh and Herbert, and they're just gonna find a way to get it done. Go on to the next week.
Herbert's had his best statistical year, even though he's taken more sacks. I will still take the Chargers. I think Houston's wide receiver injuries are now going to come back and haunt them. And Lab McConkey is the real deal.
100%. He's the new Wes Welker.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This one was tough. I kept going back and forth on this one. I got the Texans.
You just want to be different. You just want to be different.
I just want to be different. I feel like this is good. They had a good year. The Chargers did first year with Harbaugh, but the game's going to be in Houston. That's really why I'm picking Houston, because I think overall they're the better team. Like Justin said, he didn't use the word, but I think they're kind of decimated by injuries. But they're going to be at home. I think they get it like a close win.
Fair enough. No, that's fair. It's the playoffs. Like, no game is out of reach in the playoffs, really. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into their AFC foe, the Baltimore Ravens, who obviously, the Steelers have been Lamar Jackson's biggest nemesis, as have the playoffs. Now he's playing his biggest nemesis team in the area where he seems to struggle the most, which is the playoffs. We're going to start with Ian. Who you got?
It's going to be such a good game. That's going to be the banger. I got Baltimore.
What say you, Justin?
I want Pittsburgh to win for the wife principle, but I'm not stupid. Pittsburgh has really struggled the last 5 weeks of the season. I'm going to take Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. Pretty cut and dry. Like, I know he struggles against Pittsburgh. I know he's had his struggles in the playoffs. I don't think that's going to continue this game.
If Pittsburgh were limping into the playoffs like they have been, I might have more question. I might give you more reason to pause, but not with how they've been playing.
Cause to pause.
So, for this next game, Sunday, 1 o'clock, Sean, you already know the deal, buddy. We have your Denver Broncos heading into Buffalo to play the Bills. And it's your team. You're going last on this one, buddy. I'll kick this one off, and I love you like a brother, Sean. I've known you for years, buddy. I do. I've known you for years, brother. I'm going with Buffalo, man. I'm sorry.
I'm going to go on a limb. Give me Denver.
You're a wild man. You're a wild man.
I mean, Denver's defense is no joke. That defense can give Josh Allen problems.
Facts.
Yeah, I was gonna pick one upset too, but it's not gonna be this one. I got the Bills.
You already picked the upset, the Texans beating the Chargers.
I'm anxious to hear Sean. I want to know if he's gonna pick with his heart or with his head.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. Yeah, no. So I think it's gonna be very similar. Just going back to the college pick of Ohio State, Ohio State. So I'm gonna pick the Bills, but I would not be surprised if I'm wrong. Kind of with the same similar reason of Justin, and to add to that, Denver did beat them at Buffalo on Monday Night Football last year, so it's not like they haven't done it before. So we'll see how it goes. I would love to be wrong.
For the
if they do come on, if they do beat them, you got to come on next week with the Mile High Salute.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
For the 4:30 game, unfortunately, they will be without Christian Watson. We have the Green Bay Packers heading into Philadelphia to play the Eagles.
You didn't introduce the Eagles properly.
You didn't.
The bitch-ass Eagles. Is that proper?
I think we all know the answer to this one. 1, 2, 3. Bitch ass Eagles.
Yeah, with no Watson, it was hard. I like Love, but I mean, he got banged up, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. A
Let's
little bit.
hold on a minute. Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol.
Oh, wait a second. Shit.
Just saying.
Oh. Is he still in protocol?
Yeah, he's still in concussion protocol. Not saying he's not going to recover in time for this game, but he's still there.
Okay,
I'm
so
still
the
picking
spread.
So,
I'm still picking the Eagles because I'm basing it on that he's going to play.
but Kenny Pickett isn't playing either. He's hurt too.
Look, Eagles are 4.5-point favorite at home.
I'm
so they must think
basing it
he's
on
going to play.
Hurts is going to play. I'm just basing it on Hurts is playing.
I think the Eagles are gonna win.
Yeah, me too.
I got fly Eagles fly.
Yeah, I do too, but I'm just saying that could change things. If he doesn't play, then yeah.
Yeah, it could flip 180.
So for Sunday, 8:00, we have the Washington Commanders heading into Tampa to play the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Bucks here. I think their offense is clicking. Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback on the road against an experienced quarterback in Baker Mayfield. This game's a coin flip to me. It really is. I just think the Bucks come out on top, something like 23-17.
Yep.
Did y'all see the end of that game where the game was over, but all that Mike Evans needed was 8 yards or 5 yards to get his $3 million incentive, and they nailed it.
So I don't think it was for the incentive. I think it was for the record because he tied Jerry Rice.
Was it a record? But he got it was a $3 million bonus.
I heard them talking about a bonus.
I think it was more for the record having his name next to Jerry Rice.
I mean, he still has it, but he also got a $3 million bonus for that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I heard what Justin was talking about. They kept talking about it. Was it Red Zone or won the game or something? They kept.
It was either 100 receptions of the year or 1,000 yards receiving or something like that. But he got a $3 million bonus for it.
Yep. He ran that route that I always run against Casey in NCAA.
He did. He did.
What was it? A small underneath run route?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little 5 and out.
Me and Sean finally hopped on the sticks on NCAA.
Nice.
I'm picking the Buccaneers, and look out for that team, man. I would not be surprised if they upset a few people all the way to the Super Bowl, because Baker Mayfield, as Stephen A. Smith would say about Aaron Rodgers, is a bad man.
He is.
Dude can
Baker shows no fear, man.
They're also playing with house money.
Yep.
Tampa? No, I wouldn't say they're playing with house money. They're playing at home.
Oh, they're playing with house money in terms of expectations in the NFC. No one expects them to go very far.
I think their overall playoff picture is playing with house money. I don't think this game specifically is playing with house money.
No.
Home.
Right. But yeah, any further past this round, it's house money.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me Tampa.
I got Tampa as well. I think this is gonna be a lot of game where a lot of people are gonna pick the upset, but I think they're too good at home. I think Baker is gonna ball out.
Monday night, 6 days from tonight, Mr. Blackwell. Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson are heading to La La Land to play Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua in the Los Angeles Rams. What do you got, Sean?
Skull.
Oh.
Listen, this is a pissed off Vikings team, man. They just got their asses kicked by the Lions.
Justin's going to the Vikings too. Well, Ian, at the beginning of this show, buddy, I said you guys had a good chance to win this game.
Who are you, the Eminem rap devil?
Just ram it. I'm going to the upset. Give me the fucking Rams.
Who you got, Justin?
Did you not just see him scolding?
No, I didn't. I had I was clicked over to the he scolded. I saw Sean skull. Okay, there we go.
All right, so we got 2 on the Vikings, 2 on the Rams, and if your team disappoints me, you're kicked out of the chat. No, I'm just kidding.
Especially if they get blown out, then you're out.
Yeah, you're out
No,
again.
we're not losing this game.
Man, it's going to be a crazy wild card weekend. I am excited for this.
Same.
I like
How
the.
crazy is it that a 14-3 team is the 5 seed and has to go on the road?
That's what made me nervous about this game. So I'm like, damn, we're literally playing the best
like
wild
that.
card team ever.
I hope they don't change that. I mean, they probably will because people are complaining, but I've always liked that.
No, I don't think they should either. I mean, it's definitely a discussion, but the Rams won their division.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point to start the season. That's every team's objective is to win the division.
Yep, that's what makes the division even more important.
Yeah.
And I got a question for you guys. Now, it's got nothing to do with this year's playoffs because obviously either situation is a possibility. But hypothetically speaking, how would they work it if, for example, the NFC and AFC championships were played in either the Meadowlands, if the Giants and the Jets were in it, or B, if the Rams and the Chargers were in it and hosting?
That's wild.
That's a really good question. I mean, you got to think about it because obviously the conference championship games are on the same day.
Same day, same stadium.
You probably have to. I mean,
what they'd have to do is one of them they'd have to make it a 1:00 kickoff. The next one they'd have to make it an 8:30 kickoff. I know typically it's like a 3 and a 6, 3:30 because they kind of change the time frames, but I think that's the way they'd have to do it.
But then you got to clear the field, repaint it, everything for the other team.
The first time it's been done before. I mean, it's happened in basketball all the time.
It hasn't happened.
Not in the same day for football. Basketball is different because the court you just do whatever you do. Like juniors say out
for football, it has not.
Football, I feel like would be harder. No,
because probably have to have them on different days. As an exception.
Yeah, you
like a Saturday Sunday kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Just 2 different days. You could pay this shit overnight. You wake up in the morning, Sunday.
But that only would have to happen if that happened. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter.
Such a far-fetched scenario, but damn, that's a good point.
You guys heard that new LiAngelo ball?
Around the corner, roll.
There's people posted memes. It's like me pulling up all 2025. Bro, they say he sounds like some like something like from the mid to they say he's missing like Juvenile or PD Pablo or something.
Yeah, dude, it like I haven't listened to the full song.
I did.
From what I've heard on like TikTok and stuff like that, it sounds catchy as hell.
I'm gonna let this shit go.
Is there anything you guys want to cover before we get to the question?
Quick, Maine, great split with Denver this weekend. Another big weekend with UMass Lowell this weekend. I see another split coming.
I definitely could see a split with Maine. Justin, you're gonna understand this more than Ian or Sean, unfortunately, so it doesn't need to be a long discussion. The Lyndon Green injury is really starting to take effect.
Definitely it is.
He was our best player. He's our captain. He's our leader. And it's starting to show a little bit on the ice. They played well enough to win both games. They really did.
They lost 20 seconds in the first one.
Yeah. No, exactly. They lost 2-1 and then ended up winning 2-1. So whichever way you want to slice it, it was fine. I mean, Denver's the defending national champions for a reason. And the fact that we got a split with them, even at home, but I will say this too. Denver's coach was absent and their best player was absent due to them being in the World Juniors.
I think that would have made a marginal difference. I don't think it would have made as drastic of a difference overall, long run.
Yeah, but a marginal distance could be a goal.
This is true. But
and I just want to say that Though they're not on TV, I am not taking Michigan State hockey for granted because I know they have been kicking ass and taking names.
They have.
They played Wisconsin last week and it was kind of cool. The second game was kind of a unique game. It was at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Michigan State won
That's
4-3
really
in
cool,
overtime.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was pretty iconic.
They
I
did
think
that
even
for
Tom
Mich-
Izzo went to the game.
They played a
They
few games at Fenway. Those are always cool to see.
Yeah, and then they got tough series this weekend at Penn State on the road. That'll be tough. And then they have Michigan the following weekend.
Michigan State played Michigan years ago at the Big House, I think it was, in
Yep.
hockey.
And
You know
then
what I'm
who
talking about?
started the Yep, they did Michigan State like in 1998 at Spartan Stadium. It was the first one.
I could see that series with Penn State ending in a split for sure.
Same. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah,
Penn State's got a good
that's a
program.
good series to keep your eye on. I don't know if you're gonna have time to watch it, but if you can,
If
just
it'll
put it
even be
for a
on
few
TV.
minutes, you know?
Will it even be on TV? Let's see.
It'll definitely be on ESPN Plus.
What's that? Sorry.
Nope, it's gonna be on Big Ten Plus.
Big Time Plus, which I'm guessing you have.
No, I
Really?
don't have.
Wow.
A lot of people don't have Big Ten Plus because it's just a shitty app. It's not worth the money.
$30 a month.
Yeah, like that's
Oh,
the type of shit. Like if you like watching like, I mean, because it's a conference, so there's only so
Yeah.
much basketball. Like there's a shitload of softball. Like there's a bunch of sports.
Yeah,
to
that's
where-
like if I want to watch like one of our favorite teams, the Davidson diving team.
Yeah, no, don't joke about
If I
that.
want to watch stuff like that, which that stuff's cool. Like with all due respect, I'm not trying to like that. Certainly has its audience, but I'm just not that tuned in.
It's not. That's not you're not its audience.
Yeah,
exactly.
no, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. And I don't know if you guys know this. Justin might. I don't know. Celtics have a big game tonight, boys. Very big game tonight. On the road at Denver.
Mm.
This might be the first game I don't watch fully because it doesn't come on until 10. I have to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a late ass start. I mean, because even 10 your time, that's shit.
Pistons have been balling, man. Cade Cunningham had that 40-point game. Then he balled out the next game.
No, Ian, it's on 10 my time.
Oh yeah, no, I'm tripping. So that's only 7 Pacific. I'm thinking it's an hour later. Westbrook's been playing well though. Is what I was gonna say about the Nuggets.
Westbrook. Yep. That'll be a good game.
Now, Sean, you said you got the question.
Yes, sir. Are we ready for it?
Let's go.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right. So as we know, Broncos made the playoffs barely, but they made it. So here's my question: would you rather, and you can apply this to any sport, would you rather be like a 7 seed and have the toughest road to the championship game, or would you rather have the first overall pick in the draft of the league?
Good question.
Wait, would you rather be the top seed with the toughest road?
No, the lowest seed with a hardest road to the Super Bowl,
or the number 1 pick.
I'm gonna say the number 1 pick, and my reasoning for that is because when you're a 7th seed, yes, you made the playoffs. Like you said, Sean, you got invited to the party, but you weren't necessarily the VIP selection for the party. You know what I mean?
You had the right entourage around you to make it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You kind of like the last minute invite there, and so when you're a 7th seed, I don't want to disrespect any team that's in the playoffs, but when you're a 7th seed, you're not really a championship contender. You know, you're in the playoffs, you're in the mix, but you're not fully equipped yet. You know, unfortunately, you're not Kansas City, you're not Buffalo, you're not Philadelphia. So I'd rather get that number 1 overall pick just personally because
interesting.
That number 1 pick could transition into a generational talent. Not saying that they will, but that number 1 pick is always supposed to be something special. We know that doesn't always pan out, but that 7th seed, not great draft stock there. And also, unless you pick up free agents and you develop a great more over time, you almost could be back in that position next year where you're the 6th seed, the 7th seed again, and almost have another first round out. Not saying that's what's going to happen, but when you're the 7th seed, you're just not quite at championship contender yet. So I'd go with the number 1 pick for that reason.
Interesting.
I think I'd take the number one pick too, and just for my team mostly because this is my situation where the Patriots are right now because they need to build for the future as opposed to they need the future to be ready because they're not ready for the playoffs now. They're not ready for it. They would get in there and get absolutely blown off, the doors blown off, like they did the first Mac Jones year, for example. But I think the ambiance of the first overall pick is that feel like okay, something great is coming, kind of like the generational talent theme that Casey was saying. But it gives you more hope for better things to come in the future. Especially, and again, I'm speaking coming from a team that is sucking wind. It has been sucking wind for the last few years. There's nothing wrong with being the number 7 seed because you have that chip on your shoulders, like no one's believing we can make it, which is very good. It definitely helps. But sorry, my guys, my wife distracted me. But um, I think in the long run, I think right now, at least for where my team sits, I'd want the number one pick as opposed to a end of the line playoff seed.
It's understandable.
I
Assuming I'm
think
going
Justin and
last.
I coming from a point too, because we got to be honest about it. We're coming from two teams who didn't make the playoffs this year. Who are
Yeah. You're looking at it from your point of view. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get it. Ian, do you want to go to? Am I going last or?
Oh yeah, you can go last. That's your question. What I was gonna, I would. That's actually a really fucking good question.
It's a really good question.
I would rather see because if this was basket, are we talking about football, right?
Any league
Any
you
sport.
want.
Oh, and you say you can play. See, for me, it applies differently to different leagues. I guess I've always felt that way about basketball because who was the eighth seed in the NBA playoffs last year in the Western Conference? I don't. I mean, who's my point exactly. Like they're obviously irrelevant. And then
Florida
I
Panthers and
just
hockey.
right. I
Couple
just feel
seasons
like
ago.
when you're the eighth seed in basketball, you have to beat a talented, well coached team in a 7-game series. Football, you come out and win. I mean, shit, take the Commanders for example. They come out win this weekend. They go and they end up playing Detroit. They throw a few picks. Whoever they end up playing the NFC Championship, they have a few injuries coming in. Boom, Commanders are in the Super Bowl. I just don't. I think in football there's just more of a chance, which is why we're basketball. Like you're not the Heat
I mean,
when they did it, they got all the way through the playoffs, but you're not getting all the way through the playoffs
in
unless you're one of
strictly
the cream of the crop.
in strictly football terms, though, Ian, since the NFL has expanded to the 17 playoff, the 7th seed has yet to win a game.
That ass.
I hate that stat. I'll tell you why I hate that stat.
How long have they been expanded?
They were saying
Wait,
that about the number 1 seed. Like, like, oh, the number 1 seed doesn't make it to the Super Bowl. What are you gonna talk? Like, I hate that stat.
No, that's fair. No,
I just hate
that,
stats like that.
I get it, Sean, but you may hate the stat, but it at this current present time, it's a fact.
how long? It's been expanded for like 6, 7 years now.
Has it been that long?
No, well, the first year they had Monday night, right? So the year we won, it's only like 3 then, 2 or 3. I think the first year we won was the first year they had a Monday night game because we crushed Arizona.
So that means because 7th seed for both conferences, it's been 3 years, so that's 6 games. So they're 0-6, the 7th seed.
I mean, but you've had some good 2 seed. I mean, wasn't Kansas City? No, they were the 1 seed last year. I mean, you've had some good 2 seeds.
Kansas
though.
City wasn't the 1 seed last year. Baltimore was.
I need more of a sample size.
Kansas City was
6
the
games,
2 when they played Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, there you go. Yeah, Miami going into a cold weather environment, which I was set on Miami all year, winning the Super Bowl. I mean, having the number 1. I guess yeah, you guys kind of look at it
I
differently.
think there's more upside. Actually, there's more potential upside for getting the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I think who was it? Justin that said it's like the number 1 pick. You kind of expect greatness more. Yeah, I think you see them with a higher ceiling. Like
Ian, think about this from a basketball standpoint, right?
Mhm.
Who's the 7th seed in the East right now?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Atlanta.
We'll throw out Atlanta. We'll say Atlanta.
Oh, you wanted me to actually
Like
look.
they're like the perennial 7 or 8 seed.
Would you rather be the Atlanta Hawks or have the ability to draft Cooper Flag?
That's what I'm saying. Basketball, I'd rather have the chance to draft Cooper Flag. I just feel like also in football, at least for me, it's different when you're going to the playoffs and you have a winning culture. Whereas basketball, 10 teams make the play-in. That's literally 2/3 of each conference
Yeah.
gets into at least the postseason in some form. But football, though, I feel like when you're getting there and you're hanging banners and you have a culture, it takes so much more guys to be in cohesion. I just feel like football it plays a big. I feel like at least getting to the playoffs, even if you don't win, like it sets you up for more momentum. Whereas basketball, you be the Hawks and you get just shit out of the playoffs.
What about you, Sean?
So I pondered on this question when I asked it in chat earlier, and I've seen so many. We all have seen like so many 7 seeds, quote unquote 7 seeds in different sports do things like the Tigers. What they did was pretty crazy. To barely making it to contending, almost made it to the championship series, and then Florida Panthers making it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. I guess I'm the type of person who would always want that chance. And also, I'm looking at it from a couple of other standpoints, kind of like you guys are doing with your own teams. I'm looking at it from my team's standpoint. And it all depends on your situation, too. Yeah, you're right. Because if Denver didn't have a Bo Nix, a quarterback who looks like they have a promising future, then maybe you really wouldn't want to be the 7 seed. But in like
Let's say
Denver's
you're going into the
scenario,
7 seed, right? But your quarterback was Case Keenum.
I still would like that chance, though. I still would like that.
But you're 17-point dogs. See, I get where Casey's coming from a little more now because I think it's just relative by the situation and how we're seeing things at the moment. Because if I was a fan that was just the team was miserable, like the Jets,
Mhm.
I would probably just be like, man, give me just one guy who can just turn like the Cowboys, for example. Just give me one guy that can get the team just around.
In the
Whereas,
moment, emotionally, are you
mhm,
cheering for your team to get that 7 seed though?
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
But
Because
there's a
you
difference
want
between
it to happen.
cheering in the moment and logically thinking of what's better for the future for your team.
For sure, for sure, for sure. It's a good point. But I don't know. I guess I'm always the type of person who just wants a chance at the pie,
No,
and
I get
especially
it.
again since we've seen so many examples in other sports. I think with basketball though, it's for some reason there's a better chance of that number one overall pick. And in this scenario, by the way, I know there's a lottery. You get the number one pick in the lottery, like
Yeah.
in this scenario. There's a better guarantee of the number one pick in basketball to actually be good. I think it's
Yes.
because NBA. I think it's because basketball is just an easier sport to scout than football, to be
It's
honest.
an easier sport to transition to from
Hmm.
college to the pros.
Yeah. So my
Like,
answer might be a little bit different for like NBA compared to NFL,
yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
NHL.
No question. Because in the NBA,
Yeah.
like
Because
you
you could be
said,
a playoff team and still get the number one overall pick because of a trade you made with in the lottery.
I mean, technically that can happen in
mhm.
any sport, but I see your point. But if we're talking strictly NFL, Sean, here's my standpoint on it, right? Say Dallas ended up sneaking into the 7th seed, right? We'd
Hmm.
be going on the road this weekend to Philadelphia with Cooper Rush. Like,
I mean, that's why we can't use teams as you got to look at teams that actually have gotten the 7 seed. You know what I mean? Like, because obviously there's a reason why the Cowboys didn't get the 7 seed. So
of course,
obviously,
100%.
when you throw
100%.
that scenario out, you know what I mean? Like,
That's fair. That's totally fair. It's so tough because I get we're basing it on the number one pick always being a hit, and we know that's not
yeah.
the case.
What if it's the number 4 pick?
Give me the 7th seed. At that point, give me the 7th seed.
Oh, the
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
What would so is it 3? What 4?
What's your magic number?
2.
Three for me.
I get
For
it.
me, I say another number 3 pick. After that, just let me get in the playoffs and God be with me.
Really good question though, like because there's so many different factors to it.
Hmm.
Like for any point that you could make for the other, you could counter that point with something for the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
And
so
we've
true.
also seen like classic examples of both.
Yeah, I say, Sean, it's a really good question because there's not a right answer. It's a preference question.
And
Yeah.
there's no wrong answer to that either.
No, it's a strictly preference question on how you view your team. Like obviously, Sean, in your standpoint, being the 7th seed, you guys have a very bright future going forward.
Right.
Very bright. And so I see why you want it. Even though to counter your point, you yourself don't think this team is good enough to go into Buffalo. Like you don't it's not that you don't think, you don't expect them to go into Buffalo and win. Otherwise you would have picked them. You picked Buffalo in your heart of hearts, being unbiased as you can, you expect Buffalo to win the game on Sunday.
I know that hurt.
Right.
So with that being said, would you rather have that or would you rather have that, right, knowing that expectation, or having that number 1 pick of the draft right now with the same team still and getting Travis Hunter and missing the playoffs this year?
Going in right now, not knowing the results of the game, I would
No,
rather
I get it.
have the
I get it.
7th seed.
I hear you 100%. I hear you 100%.
I mean, Bo Nix is already older than probably 90% of the quarterbacks in the playoffs right now.
Man, what was his first year in college?
Shit, like
It's tough to tell.
1983 or something.
I think it was 2018.
Because he started at Auburn. He was, I think his dad played at Auburn, and then he went to Oregon. But yeah, it was like 20, because the COVID year. It's been a fucking while since Bo Nix started college.
Maybe that's the route he needed though, because fuck, it's either him, Jaden Daniels for Rookie of the Year, obviously.
Jaden
It's
Daniels is
Jaden
gonna
Daniels.
win.
Yeah, I think Jaden's gonna
Bo
win.
Nix messed up those last few games. Had he had done something against the Chargers and who was the Bengals, different conversation. But yeah.
Now, I will say, if he wasn't on such a shit team, Brock Bowers would deserve some recognition.
Yeah.
Oh, he should still get some votes, but he won't get it by any club, by anyone near.
And you know, obviously, it's not going to Caleb Williams. It's not going to Drake May. I will say, I think Caleb Williams developed very, very well the last month and a half of the season.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to touch on real quick? No, I'm good too.
Awesome. Well, it's been a hell of a show. As always.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
Don't forget to bring a towel. Jesse Pinkman, good luck on Sunday.
He said I look like Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. Hey, yeah, go shovel the fucking snow that's in front of the door, because that's what happens in places like that. Good night, everybody.
Tell Mr. White I want my money.
All right.
Have a good night, fellas.